Senators and government of Guam leaders with the Department of Education and Department of Public Health are back at it today. The discussion forcing some to rewind to the day they voted to unanimously move up the timeline for public schools to comply with health and sanitation rules and regulations by this school year. But as getting students back into classrooms physically, even with GDOE school year delay, still appears to be bleak, some senators backtracking during today's continued emergency session, like freshman Senator Duane Nicholas.
Although I would love to keep the students safe, I think the previous laws that were enacted kind of, I guess, hasten everything and put unreasonable timelines on everybody, and it's I think if you were given the latitude to allow all the schools to open, I think that would be that would be more better for the entire school system.
During today's emergency session, Senator Nicholas introduced Bill 158. The measure would allow GDOE to operate schools that are waiting to be inspected this upcoming school year. Additionally, the bill proposes campuses that fail to make the grade may operate at the discretion and approval of the Superintendent of Education. Nicholas's suggestion was in response to GDOE Superintendent Dr. Kenneth Swanson's declaration that he needs some slack to make the call whether a building is safe for students.
To do that, we would certainly have to put limiting parameters building by building, because I'm not, and I don't think you're suggesting either, a blanket approval to just go do what we feel like we should do. I certainly want to be adhering to the required standards, because I don't want to put anybody in a dangerous situation. And our intent is to continue the repair and inspection schedule. You know, there's no stepping away from that.
Yes,
we want to get everybody certified.
And the variances remain a pressing topic of discussion. Senator Thomas Fisher asking the panel of education and public health officials if they communicated the problems to lawmakers. Swanson saying it had been in testimony during public hearings.
Here in the legislature, we cannot fairly say that this is a big surprise. We have in one form or another knew this train was coming our way, correct?
Yes, that's accurate.
Fisher then piggybacking off of Senator Will Parkinson's suggestion to open schools in time while continuing repairs and cleanup, adding that he trusts the superintendent not to allow kids on campuses that are not safe. The Republican senator emphasizing that not having students in school is a real emergency, as double sessions, logistically and otherwise, is a nightmare.
It's not an emergency if one of the walls is dripping. That's unfortunate and it's repairable. It is not an emergency with one school has a rat in it. That's unfortunate, but we can take care of the rat. In the meantime, those kids need to be in those chairs and they need to be learning.
And despite admitting she was a proponent of wanting Guam DOE schools to meet new standards, Senator Joanne Brown says that even with the intended help before the legislature proposed in Bill 156, she anticipates major problems with Guam DOE school reopenings based on challenges on both public health and Guam DOE's end.
Maybe we need to extend that time so that we can actually get back to education, because I just see chaos in a few weeks. I see chaos within the homes of a lot of families in a few weeks. If we don't do something to acknowledge, and it's the reality. I mean, I don't like it. Probably you don't like it. I'm sure our people don't like it. Our parents don't like it. But we have to do something that's workable.
Bill 156 would expedite school inspections by authorizing variances, increase small purchase limits, detailing of additional inspectors, and temporary employment of retired GovGuam inspectors. It's a similar call for a responsible solution to get schools into compliance by Governor Lou Leon Guerrero, the governor reiterating that the law paralyzes schools from reopening. Meantime, author of Public Law 37-4, Senator Chris Barnett, reacting to the comments made in today's session.
I'm crying for all our kids. You think our governor and our lieutenant governor are crying right now? No, they're not. Because it looks like they don't give a damn about our public school kids.
Barnett also telling KUAM today, quote, "It's disappointing that some of my colleagues want to send our kids to schools that aren't safe and can't pass inspections. GDOE has failed to regulate safety and sanitation at our schools for many years, and that's why we all agreed on setting a new standard that involves public health, the agency responsible for regulatory compliance with safety and sanitation guidelines. GDOE is working hard to reach compliance even without the promised help from Adelup. Instead of all hands on deck, the Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration has taken a hands-off approach to helping our public school students. Had they helped like they promised to, we would be much closer to where we need to be." The superintendent admitting that whatever the opening of schools looks like, it will be difficult.